Hello, all you SPMEs out there. Today's question has probably about 6 answers, but the 7th answer is a secret that will ensure that the other answers don't discourage you in your self-publishing process of getting your books out and trying to make sales. So let's get into it. The question that was sent in was self-published books that made millions? And so the person who asked this was clearly wanting to know, well, hey, if you don't have to go the traditional route, can you expect that it's possible to make lots and lots of money from your self-published books? And one of the ways to see that is to look at the big winners on the self-publishing scene. And that's a very reasonable question to ask, because if nobody ever wins, well then why should you even bother to self-publish? And so by looking at the big time sellers, this is an excellent way to figure out, maybe you could also become one of them. I mean, that is definitely a possibility. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com. Click the subscribe bell if you'd like for me to make more videos like this one, and check out my free checklist below in the description that will help you get started on your self-publishing journey. So, self-published books that made millions? Well, I can tell you from my own personal story and from the stories of friends that I have, I don't know any of the people who have made millions and millions of dollars off of a single book. But I can say many of the titles are very familiar with me. But that didn't really make a difference. When I got started, I was just happy to get a sale a day when I was just starting up, because that meant the money was in fact flowing in. But what about the millions of sales? How does that feel for people who are trying to get into the whole self-publishing thing? How well does that work for them when they're trying to do it? Well, I'm going to get into that. So, self-published books that made millions? Okay, so let's get into the list. The first one is The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. So there's one. That was one of the top sellers of all time. Then you have The Martian. I really enjoyed that book by Andy Weir. 50 Shades of Grey. Haven't read it, but I understand it's very popular. This book also, by the way, from a self-publishing standpoint, is a very important book, because with only like 3 stars on the review front, it still sells millions of copies. So this is a very important one to remember. Then you had Legally Blonde. I did see the movie, didn't read the book. So Aragon, the kids have read this one. I have not read it, but I understand it's an excellent book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is number 6. And I have read that many times, and I've read all of his books. Really exciting stuff there. And it goes to show nobody wanted it. I think they didn't want to publish it, if I remember correctly. He explains this in one of his, I think I've read 12 or 15 of his books, but one of his books, he explains this, that nobody wanted to publish, or I think take the book itself, right? And so he ends up doing it. I think they even critiqued maybe the title of the book, and it ended up being an amazing bestseller. The concepts in this book is fantastic as well, but that is for another day. But these are all top sellers. But this number 7, which is not another book, it's just to say, don't let the sales of these best-selling self-published authors discourage you. You have to understand that the nature of the game is to first get out there, start producing something, find out what your audience wants to read, and produce more of it, and keep producing. And you'll find that your sales of your earlier books starts to increase as your later books start to come out, and your total amount of money that's coming in will steadily increase over time. We're not looking at making millions and millions of dollars. We're just simply looking at bringing in a decent income from the books that we are publishing on a regular basis, and this long tail of books over a period of time that continue to sell even after it's been a year or even 5 years since we came out with some of these books. And this is just a very, very important point to keep in mind, so you do not allow these other books to discourage you in your self-publishing journey. So, self-published books that made millions? What have you found? Are there any books that I left off the list that were top books? Or maybe some of these books that you have read that you found that maybe they were of lower quality or higher quality? I'd be very interested to hear what your thoughts are below in the comments. I respond to 100% of all the comments, and check up above me here for more self-publishing answers to your questions. Thanks.